Today we're going to look at the extended discussion that can be had that connects to the forecast of values in this time series. So if we start by looking at a purpose here, we're going to look at the marriages and civil unions in New Zealand. Now, what we need to know about marriages and civil unions in New Zealand, we find through research. And you'll see here in my written purpose, it's including all of those things that we've learned to include. It's what we're investigating, who's interested in it, how will it help, what's the actual question, as well as including vital research in there. And you can see my links below. We, of course, then go through the analysis with our trend line. This particular one you can read through, but I have not included supported research. That is something that you would need to do. What you can see here is I've actually smoothed, so the smoothed average, the black line, I've actually given a rough estimate of direction to see that it is an increasing direction up to 2008 and then a decreasing direction after that, but what we can see is that there is an increase overall. So that's usually a discussion point. That's an added level of discussion, an extended idea that you can then discuss. And you can talk about why in 2008 was it the highest and why after that it would then decrease. Again, make sure these are supported with research. And you'll find through here that within the discussion that I have noted the values as we go through. The seasonality also will need some research and discussion, and we can see, and you just talk about it as you would normally. The idea behind this is that anything significant that you notice on a, not the average basis, which is what we normally discuss, but on the yearly basis, what happened at this point here? What happened at this point here? You know, those out of the ordinary. Those out of the ordinaries can also be identified on the trend graph because it's a higher than normal peak. You can see here 2012. There is just before 2012, there is our extended peak that we're like, well, what's happening there? So just identifying those. Now, one thing that you need to know about the analysis is that there's actually two models for recomposition, and this actually applies through our seasonality and through our recomposition and our forecast. These are the additive model and the multiplicative model. Understanding the additive model and understanding the multiplicative model and which one is the best one to use for your data set, that is an extended level of discussion that pushes you up towards excellence. There are two videos here that talk about the two different model types and when to use them. I would encourage you to do that if you are moving through to excellence. So you'll need to make sure that you've chosen your model at the seasonal stage of the analysis and the model will stay that same way, stay in that format for your recomposition and for your forecast. The forecast itself, having a level of discussion, understanding that it's using a certain algorithm, that's going to help us. So what we see here, we see an additive model here. And the reason I know it's additive is because it can go into negative numbers. Now, in a multiplicative model, we know that anything we multiply by 0 is 0, and therefore the multiplicative model will never go below 0, which can actually be very helpful when predicting. Okay, so this here is just describing us our normal forecast information. However, understanding that the Holt-Winters model, which is a complex algorithm, is what helps us make this forecast with our margins of error because it puts more emphasis on the most recent data here to create the forecast, and it puts less emphasis on the older data.